Did you plan this before you took the sabbatical, or did this happen? Did this revelation happen while you were in the sabbatical at Berkeley?
I did plan for it before the sabbatical. In fact, when we apply for when faculty apply for sabbatical, we are supposed to write a sabbatical application actually, and you're supposed to submit the sabbatical application almost 8 months before you actually go on sabbatical, and then it actually gets reviewed by the campus, and they might actually deny your application. That happens too. Typical sabbatical applications go I'm going to go spend X months in this place and then Y months in another place, start up some research projects, or I'm going to spend X months in a company. My sabbatical application was, I'm going to start a podcast. Here's what it is. So that was it. That's essentially what I wrote. And I was very impressed by this campus. They looked at their application, they said, okay. Which is amazing because they are actually paying a part of my salary during my sabbatical year. And they were fine with me actually not saying in the sabbatical application that I would start up new collaborations or go to a company. I said, I'm going to spend some time here, but that's not the main product. And they were okay with it, which is a great sign for a campus like this. I think the fact that they value diverse activities, they value human-facing activities, even in a college of engineering, right? That was a very good sign, and that made me feel very welcome. So so that's the long answer to your question. Yes.
So that means you knew about this since the beginning of 2021. You had started planning this.
I did, yes. In fact, my original idea for doing the podcast was born in around 2020 when I was starting to think of what would I do in my sabbatical. And initially, I wanted to do a podcast focused purely on women in computing, right? And as part of this, I was reading this book that I described, and that's what caused me to kind of broaden the scope of the podcast to cover immigrants, and through immigrants as well. I interview about half the episodes cover women, and we cover a lot of other experiences of women who grew up from outside the U.S. So I kind of broadened the scope compared to that. And part of the reason that I broadened the scope also is because as I was doing my research, when my original idea of women in computing came over, I actually found that there's at least one well-known oral history project of women in computing that was done in the early 2000s. It's very well documented. It's also archived by ACM. And there were about 50 plus women who were interviewed, very, very well-known women. And so I read through a lot of those interviews in order to kind of understand, what do these interviews look like and what were the experiences. But I didn't want to replicate that, I wanted to do something completely new, which is why I brought in the scope as well. But yeah, the short answer to your question is yes. I kind of knew that I wanted to do something along the lines of creating an oral history repository well before the sabbatical.
And I think podcast is a very powerful way to do that because I know it's picking up, a lot of people are doing that, but if you do it right, you can bring out some wonderful conversations with people. And so